How's it going, everyone? Today I wanted to talk to you about another crop that I'm planting alongside my agave, my cactus, my palms and different other crops, and that's yuccas. So here we've got a beautiful purple yucca blue boy, which it started off green, but because it's been here and really cold temperatures in the winter, it's turned completely purple. And this yucca blue boy is a new variety to me. I haven't really, farmed it much, but it made it through the winter, and it looks, yuccas are usually very, very heat hardy. So I have high hopes of it making it through the summer based on a lot of the other yucca species that I have here, right? So yucca species, many of them, if I remember correctly, the majority are all polycarpic, which means they can give, a big quiote like the agaves, except they can do that yearly. So if you're, looking at, turning quiotes into viable products like steaks or surfboards or different packaging materials, then the yucca might be able to give you that same material on a yearly basis, right? And the flowers are also known as flor de isote, in Guatemala and Central America, Mexico, and they utilize a few of the yuccas, but yuccas are very similar to cactus and agave in that there is dozens and dozens of them, right? And point being, you can supplement your agave farm's income by adding some different yucca species, and they can also be dry farmed. They're going to be the same kind of irrigation style of very low water, and you can also get an edible crop off them on a yearly basis, right? So various different ways to bring in a little bit more income while you wait for your agaves to mature, right? Here we have a different yucca, which is yucca hybrid eclipse, and pretty much like the blue boy, same thing. We're going for yearly flowers, quiote production, and what I'm starting to experiment with too now that I'm bringing in a lot of the yuccas is using them for forage. So I'm now cutting these leaves off and feeding them to goats and to chickens and to different animals that we have here, and they're a viable forage. They're liking them. They have a lot of fiber and water, much like agave and cactus. So I already kind of did the preliminary work there and trained my goats to eat the agave and cactus, and yucca they've adapted well. They probably just think it's an agave, to be honest with you. But if you notice, these yuccas, I can brush up against them, and they don't have spines. And a lot of the Brazilian farmers I've talked with tell me we want low spine agaves to create great forages, right, for our cattle, and maybe here I might want to do that for my goats. And the point being is that these are fast growing crops. They could be dry farmed just like agave, and create lots and lots of forage, and you're not going to have your animals getting spines all over the place on them, right? Not that happens with agave, but that's a concern that people have. So this is something that kind of satisfies that concern for them. And both, this yucca blue boy can take down at 18 Fahrenheit, and we got down at 14 Fahrenheit, so I covered it only one night because that was that 114 Fahrenheit night. The rest of it, it's just been all natural chilling. And this yucca hybrid eclipse, it gets only down to 25, so I have to cover it a few more days, right? But hopefully in its later stages, when it's much more mature, these two plants, I'll have to do less and less covering. But obviously if it doesn't get as cold, we don't need to do that or any of that. But yeah, really, great genus, the two genuses, the yucca and the Hespero yucca, and lots of them are native to the United States and California, and we're breeding lots of them. Like this was a bred yucca, it's not from the wild, somebody made it, and they have a lot of potential to be utilized how we're using the agaves, making spirits out of the flower stalks of the agave. You could do that with the yuccas as well. What I'm banking off lots of the yuccas, because I've distilled Hespero yucca Whippley, is that many of them will also produce a sizable piña that could make some nice spirits or wine. But if worst case I only get flowers and quiote and forage and leaf production, that's not a bad bet either, because as I mentioned, they're full of fiber, and you could even make textiles or different things out of them as well. So lots of diverse options with the yucca, and that's kind of what we're trying to show through some of these videos, how you can have different options of generating income on your agave farm, because it is a long-term crop. You know, we're talking about 5 to 30 years for many of these different species, and while you wait for those crops to mature, you need to be bringing in income to pay for your bills, and we want to make sure that your agave farm is successful. So we, introducing a few other crops that could go alongside that are similar management styles, right? So the agave that can go great with the cactus, the palms,